These are just my personal opinions on the hairstyles I've done in the past, either for myself or for other people. First on my list is box braids. Box braids have been around since the beginning of braiding hair. It is the pioneer of all black girl hairstyles. It's basically when you part your hair into squares and then use the braiding hair to start braiding your hair from the roots to the ends. Me personally, I feel like this hairstyle is usually tight and is really bad for your edges, and it looks really bulky on top. You have to wait a couple days till you can style it, till you can move it around. I feel like the only good thing about this hair is that it's very easy to do, and because of the box parts, it looks neat. So for that reason, I'll give box braids a 3 out of 10. Next are knotless braids. Oh my days, I love knotless braids. Knotless braids are basically when you start braiding your hair and slowly adding braiding hair to your hair until you get to your desired length. It is so neat and it's so flat. It's super easy to start right after braiding. It doesn't tug on your edges because you're starting with your real hair. It doesn't pull out your hair like box braids do. You know, when your box braids start getting old, it tends to slip down your real hair, and as it's doing that, it's tugging out your real hair as well. Knotless braids doesn't do that, so it's completely safe, natural hair friendly, and for all these reasons, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Knotless braids is basically when you braid your hair, whether knotless or normal braids, and then you add like curly pieces of hair as you are going down. You don't braid it into the braid, you just add it and you leave it out, so it gets that, I don't even know where the name goddess braids came from, but it gets that unfinished look. Me personally, I don't like it. It only looks good either when you use human hair or the first day you do the hairstyle. The curls tend to tangle up, especially if you are doing a curly piece of hair on every single braid. It will tend to tangle up, it makes your hair heavy. Those curls add weight to your hairstyle, and I feel like it tugs on your edges as well. For that reason, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Next is knee length braids. I've done knee length braids before and it looked so good. Well, that was the first and last time I ever did the braids on myself, because it's, in as much as it looked good, yeah, it got caught in everything, in the door handle, in the class seats. I always sat down on it, and as it's getting stuck on things, it's tugging at your hair, so that's very bad for your edges. I feel like just because it's getting stuck on things and it's touching a lot of things, it gets dirty like quickly, and for that reason, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Jumbo braids are just normal braids with big parts. People who do this hairstyle, they're the kind of people who don't like sitting down for long hairstyles. They just want a quick, you know, in and out of the hair salon. I like this hairstyle just because the fact that the parts are big, it doesn't tug on your hair, and it's edges friendly. I can do it on myself, but I just feel like it's going to be a waste of time and energy because it doesn't last at all. And the point of a protective style is for it to last a long time, so you won't be touching and manipulating your hair unnecessarily. So for that reason, I'm going to give jumbo braids a 5 out of 10. Butterfly braids are when you do a knotless braids on the hair and start removing a tiny piece of braiding hair in order for it to make a curve around the braid, and you braid again and continue the same step until you get to the end. I feel like this hairstyle is really bulky because you need to use a lot of attachments for it, because you are pulling out the hair, and as you are pulling it out, it's getting thinner at the bottom, so it's going to be very bulky and very heavy on your hair. And I feel like heavy hairstyles, they always tug on your natural hair, so I don't think it's edges friendly. Butterfly locks are way better than butterfly braids. Personally, I don't like the way butterfly braids look. I really don't. For that reason, I'm going to give butterfly braids a 4 out of 10. Meanwhile, butterfly locks would be a 6 out of 10. Fulani braids is when you braid, either you do normal box braids or knotless braids at the back of your hair, and then you stop at the middle, and then you weave the front part of the hair. It's a way to show how artistic and skillful you are in weaving. There is no strict pattern to do Fulani braids. You can do either an S or triangle part or normal weaves or a middle part weave or a side part weave. If you have 4C hair, the weaves are going to get older quicker. But what I do, because I love Fulani braids so much, once the weaves, right, are getting old, I take them out and I do like a different weaving pattern, because it's the front that matters. No one is looking at the back. I do a different weaving pattern and that just make it look like a whole new hairstyle. That's why I love Fulani braids, and for that I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Micro braids are normal braids, whether box braids or knotless braids, but they are parted so freaking tiny, like so small. I personally don't know who can sit down for that kind of hairstyle, but people do, and it's quite a popular hairstyle. I don't like it because it's dangerous for your edges, but I like it because it lasts a long time. So that's maybe 3 months or more without touching your hair or manipulating your hair. That's why I love the hairstyle, and I feel like the longer you do it, the heavier it is on your hair and it keeps on tugging on your edges. So that's why I don't like it. For this reason, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Next are braids with French curls. Braids with French curls are knotless braids, and at the bottom you do these huge barrel curls on your hair. You can either curl the synthetic hair by yourself or you can buy the already curled synthetic hair. Either way, if you curl it by yourself, the curls are going to fall. Like, because the curls are so big, they are going to fall with due time. Mine fell in like 2 days. And if you buy the already curled braiding hair, it's going to get so tangled. Like, you are going to be frustrated. I hate it when I'm braiding my hair and it's just getting tangled and tangled. For that reason, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. We have them weaved butterfly braids. Like, it's not the normal butterfly braids. You actually weave a weaved pattern of a butterfly onto the scalp and then you braid whatever is remaining. There's this girl in my class, she did this hairstyle and her braids were standing. She looked like someone with antennas, and nobody wants that. So that's the bad part of the hairstyle. I feel like it's not 4C hair friendly. It's going to get stiff over time. That hairstyle is just not for me. It's very artistic and it looks really cool, but it's just not something I would put on my head. And for that reason, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Pattern twist is basically twisting your hair with, I think, a specific kind of braiding hair, but I don't know if it's just me, but any braiding hair that's meant for twist, any curl pattern braiding hair is always lighter than normal braiding hair. For me, it's easier to do than braids. Let me just speak for myself here. It's easier to do than braids, and for me it lasts longer and doesn't put tension on your scalp or on your edges. And for that, I'm going to be giving twist an 8 out of 10. Cornrows are just when you weave your whole hair backwards. That's just it. It makes you look neat. That's why I like the hairstyle. It just makes you look neat. I don't like it because I have 4C hair and it tends to get old really fast, but I like it because it's really versatile. You can put a scarf on your hair, a wig on your hair, turban, anything on your hair, as long as you have cornrows in. It's the closest hairstyle to being bald, so that's why I really like the hairstyle. It's just an easy hairstyle. It's not in your face, it's not touching your ears, it's not causing you heat. It's just a really calm, collective hairstyle, and for that reason I'm going to give cornrows a 9 out of 10. I recently did flat twist for the first time and I loved it. It takes some time to, you know, master flat twist, but it's a very easygoing hairstyle. It's not tight. It can't be tight. I don't think it's possible for someone to make flat twist tight on your hair. You can move your hair around whenever you do it. You know, when you braid your hair is like your head is stuck in a certain weird way. But with flat twist, you can move your head around after you do it. It's a very comfortable hairstyle for me and I really love it. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Next are invisible locks. People do this hairstyle just because it's trending, sorry. You flat twist the top and you have to put gel on the top so it stays, and then you knotless twist the bottom so it goes from flat to bulky and then lastly you barrel it so it looks like a bob cut. I don't really have much to say about this hairstyle. I just prefer to stick to what works for me, which is my knotless braids and my twists, rather than jumping into something because it's trending on social media. For that reason, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Full locks is basically artificial locks. I like this because you can either do it in as a crochet method. There's the braiding hair for full locks, or you can do the manual way, which is just wrapping your hair and wrapping your hair. I did the manual way and I loved how it turned out. I used Brazilian wool to do mine. You can use kinky hair to do yours, or you can just buy the full lock extension. It looks better the older it gets. It's easy to style and it doesn't cause tension on your edges, and for that reason I'm going to give full locks a 9 out of 10. The rubber band hairstyle is basically any hairstyle you do and you add rubber bands to the front. I feel like this hairstyle is a huge red flag, because if you don't have a strong rubber band, it's going to break and you have to go to the hairstylist again to try to fix it, and I feel like that's just not the vibe. And also I don't think it's 4C friendly, because you know we have thick hair and you have to use gel. It's not everyone that wants gel on their hair, but with that hairstyle you have to use gel to, you know, slick it in place and make it look neat. I feel like it tugs on the hair because it's rubber bands. That hairstyle can be for an event, or if you are going out for a quick, you know, event with your friends, but it's not something to do long term, and I don't consider it as a protective style. And for that reason I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Next is a sleek ponytail, and I'm talking about high ponytails, low ponytails, puffs and stuff like that. It's basically when you use gel on your hair to sleek it back and put extensions at the tips of the hair, and then that's basically the hairstyle. I like it so much because it helps protect the ends of your hair, and I love that for that reason. But me personally, it's not something that I would keep in for a couple days. I'm just going to do that if I'm going for an event, or if I'm, you know, going somewhere. It's just a quick 1 hour hairstyle. For that reason I'm going to give this hairstyle a 7 out of 10, because I still like the hairstyle. It's just not a long-term protective style for me. We're almost done. Sew-ins is basically when you sew weave-ons to your hair. Like, you first of all cornrow your hair, get a little bit of leave out, like you leave out some strands of hair so that it will look like it's your hair, and then you know, sew the, you know, weave-ons to your cornrows, and then you make your real hair match the weave-ons so that it will look like it's your hair. You leaving out your hair, the hair that is braided and under the weave-ons is going to be protected and is going to grow and is going to look nice once you take it out. But the one that you left out, I don't really find that helpful, because if you are destroying a part of your hair, I feel like you're destroying your whole head. So for that reason, I'll give sew-ins with leave out a 1 out of 10. Closure sew-ins are better than leave out sew-ins. So for closure sew-ins, I'll give them a 10 out of 10, but for leave out sew-ins is a 1 out of 10 for me. Last but not least, wigs. Wigs are the best protective style out there. Like, there is no question about it. Any kind of wig, synthetic, human hair, you know, lace fronts, non-frontal, what's it called, T-bone, whatever, any kind of wig is good for your hair. The bad thing about, you know, wig is the wig glue. Like, if you are using a bad wig glue that's dangerous for your skin and dangerous for your hair, it's always pulling out your hair, then that's when wigs become very, very dangerous. I don't sleep with my wigs. Like, who sleeps with wigs? I don't. If I'm wearing a wig, I'm probably going out or something. If you are going for an event, just use free spray and lay it down. That's the reason why I'm giving wigs a 10 out of 10. But depending on the glue you get, your wig can be a whole different rating. Like, braids can be really hard to maintain, especially with 4C hair. Make sure you check out this video right here where I show you how to refresh your braids.